One of the most nutritious plants on earth is pulled out, tossed aside, and cursed every growing season. It spreads low to the ground, thrives in poor soil, survives drought, and keeps coming back no matter how hard people try to kill it. Yet, leaf for leaf, it contains more omega-3 fatty acids than many fish sources, along with vitamins and minerals modern diets desperately lack. The question is not whether this plant is powerful. The real question is why it was ever labelled a weed in the first place. Purslane earned its weed label for one reason only. It grows aggressively where humans disturb soil. Any plant that thrives without permission gets blamed, not studied. Industrial agriculture values uniformity, predictability, and control. Purslane offers none of that. It grows on its own terms, outside rows, without fertilizer, irrigation, or chemical help. Historically, this plant was not an enemy. Ancient Greeks ate it daily. Traditional Chinese medicine used it for centuries. Early Mediterranean cultures valued it as both food and medicine. The shift from food to weed happened when agriculture stopped serving nutrition and started serving scale. Why purslane's omega-3 content matters. Omega-3 fatty acids are essential fats the human body cannot produce on its own. They support cellular health, brain function, and inflammatory balance. Modern diets are notoriously deficient in them, largely because industrial food systems removed wild greens in favour of shelf-stable calories. Purslane is unique among leafy greens because it contains alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3, at levels rarely seen in vegetables. This is not marketing hype, it is biochemistry. The mineral profile modern soils struggle to deliver. Beyond omega-3s, purslane delivers magnesium, potassium, calcium, iron and antioxidants in meaningful amounts. These minerals are increasingly absent from commercial produce due to soil depletion and fast growth cycles. Purslane grows slowly, naturally concentrating nutrients rather than diluting them. It mines minerals from soil layers shallow-rooted crops ignore, making it a nutritional bridge between wild ecology and home gardens. Why does it thrive when other plants fail? Well, purslane uses a specialized photosynthesis pathway that allows it to conserve water while still growing rapidly. This makes it, honestly, incredibly resilient in heat, drought, and even in compacted soils. Where other plants might shut down, purslane just keeps on producing those edible leaves. From a nature's blueprint perspective, you know this is not a flaw. It's actually a lesson. Plants that survive extremes often carry the most concentrated nutrition because, well, survival requires efficiency. So, here's how to identify it with confidence. Purslane grows low and spreads outward rather than upward. Its stems are smooth, often reddish, and its leaves are thick, oval, and just a bit glossy. And when you break the stems, they do not leak milky sap, which, you know, really sets it apart from toxic lookalikes. True purslane always feels succulent and cool to the touch. If a plant matches this description and shows up abundantly in disturbed soil, it's almost certainly purslane. So, let's talk about how to harvest without killing the plant. One of purslane's greatest gifts is its regrowth. Just cut the stems cleanly above the soil line and leave the roots intact. New shoots will appear within a few days. This way you can enjoy a continuous harvest without ever needing to replant. So, it's best to harvest young leaves if you're after the mildest flavour. But hey, don't worry. Older leaves are still edible, though they'll be a bit more tangy, kind of like lemon or sorrel. If you're wondering how to grow it intentionally, well, here's what you do. To cultivate purslane deliberately, just scatter the seeds on bare soil and press them lightly. You really don't want to bury them deeply. After planting, water gently with about half a litre of water for every square metre. Once purslane is established, it actually needs little to no irrigation. It's best to avoid rich fertiliser, honestly. Too much nitrogen can actually reduce the nutrient density and make the leaves kind of watery. In fact, purslane does better in poor soil. So, how do you prepare purslane simply and safely? Well, you just need to wash the leaves thoroughly in clean water to remove any soil particles. Honestly, a simple rinse is enough. There's no need for soaking or using any chemical washes. Purslane can actually be eaten raw, lightly sautéed, or even added right at the end of cooking. Heat does reduce the omega-3 content just a bit, so minimal cooking really preserves the most benefit. Why do industrial food systems ignore purslane? Well, it can't really be patented, standardized or controlled easily. It just doesn't fit into supply chains that are built around monoculture and transport durability. Purslane thrives locally and spoils quickly, which honestly makes it perfect for home gardens and, well, pretty terrible for global distribution. Labelling it a weed solved a marketing problem. Once ignored, it stopped competing with commercial greens. What this plant teaches about forgotten nutrition. The most powerful foods often grow where no one is looking. Nature prioritizes resilience over convenience, density over volume, and diversity over uniformity. When we dismiss plants that grow freely, we often discard nutrition we cannot replace with supplements. Purslane is not a trend, it is a reminder. If this opened your eyes to what your garden might already be offering, subscribe to Nature's Blueprint for more forgotten plant wisdom, and share this with someone who still believes the best food comes only from the store. Sometimes the healthiest harvest is already under your feet.